Even
And then I've
look up
got,
a
oh,
bit.
and
But
pff,
that, okay.
there goes Lily. She was,
Doing a stage show there.
yeah, she was settled for a minute there.
She says,
Um,
Mum, you're talking to someone else. I'll just
yeah,
get
I
involved.
just walk across the screen and get in the way. That seems to
Actually,
be cat
while you're
specialties.
pulling, yeah, while you're pulling the video up, do you have any advice on how to kind of stop them getting so many feet abscess? Or is it kind of just one of those
Abscesses,
things like,
when they're recurring, like it depends on how often, because most horses will tend to get abscesses in wet weather. Um,
yes, okay, which it has
if,
been really wet.
yeah, like really wet, muddy weather is just the perfect environment for multiple abscesses. And the
Okay.
other reason can be if they have very thin soles, they'll tend to abscess more
Mm-hmm.
than other horses because the abscess will start from a stone bruise. They just bruise the sole and then it kind of
Yeah,
creates
okay.
an abscess. Um, if it's chronic abscesses happening in the same place on the hoof over and over, that can
Mm-hmm.
actually indicate a bone infection.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet, but I think it's more probably the wet weather. It hasn't
Yeah, if
been.
it's wet weather, I don't worry about it too much. And if it's wet weather with horses and you had to put shoes on him because he had thin soles, that's just kind of the
Yeah,
horses with thin soles tend to abscess more than if they have good depth of sole. But
yeah,
in wet weather, all horses can abscess. It just
yeah. Okay.
kind of
One of
depends.
those things. Yep.
Yeah, because the hoof just gets soft, and so it's
Mm,
more likely to abscess. And so that's why using the dehydrating agents on the feet is more
mm-hmm.
important when the weather's wet because it helps the feet stay
Yeah.
hard enough that they don't abscess as much.
Okay. Okay. I did actually buy a product, so I should still sitting in my kitchen. I should use it. One of those things. All
Not
these
doing
great
much
ideas.
good there, yeah.
No. Well, anywho.
Yeah, but that's why, because you can think of the hooves on horses, they're a hair-like fiber, like horn, and
Mm-hmm.
so they absorb water. And so that's why
Yeah.
when the conditions get wet, you get all kinds of different hoof issues. And the soles, they don't grow, the feet don't grow as much in the wet weather because they're so soft. And so keeping the feet dry is just important to their overall health, for
Yeah.
hoof health.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so Pablo, you had a holiday and then you're back
Yep. So
and
he probably had 3 weeks off all up, and then
nice.
I've just started him back this week
And how
off.
did he come back after time off? Because most
Yeah,
people
really
ex
good.
yeah, most people expect it to be kind of terrible. And
Mm.
sometimes when the nervous system is integrating the new information, I know that's happening because they're not terrible after time off. They kind of pick up
Mm.
where they left off.
Yeah, which is what I found. I was kind of a
Excellent.
bit cautious, thinking, oh God, we're going to slip back, but no, I think he's doing good. Well, be interested to see what you think.
Oh, hang on. Why did why did I get a commercial? Uh-oh, I got the wrong video. Hang on a second. I must have hit the wrong button. Hang on. Let me try this again.
It's all right.
And YouTube, especially when I'm playing YouTube on Zoom, it gets really unhappy.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's one of
Yeah,
those
they've probably got
things.
tactics in there.
What's
Got
that?
tactics to give you. Yeah, they've got some tactics in there probably to give you some commercials, they're
Yeah.
on to us.
Yes. Or it's like I can't get back to the previous video for some reason. I don't know why. It's really only
Mm-hmm.
happens when I'm sharing the screen on Zoom. I can't return to the video before. Okay, now I've got it. So it's easier if I just go back to your email and reopen the link.
Mm.
Okay, there. Then I lost us. Where are we? Okay, now I can share the screen. Okay, can you see it again?
Yep.
Okay, let me
Yep.
make it
Okay.
full screen. Yeah, they have these pop-up ads and pop-up videos when I go to hit the play button. Sometimes I click on them by mistake because they just pop up and
Mm.
go down. So I think
Yep.
we've got it this time.
Hmm.
And so he came back about the same.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah. If not, maybe a smidgen better.
Oh, good. So the time off maybe gave him time to just rest and integrate.
Hmm. Yep. Is
And
that
so
black mark on your screen?
a black mark.
There's a, oh, sorry, like a square over the corner of the video. Doesn't matter. I'm sure it will go. I didn't know if it was
Oh, up on the
my
upper
recording.
right, up on the
Yeah, yeah,
upper
that's the
right hand
one.
corner. That's
Yep.
us. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's from, okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool.
That's us in the
Sorry, I
corner.
thought it might have been when I was recording I've done something, but that's all good. Okay.
Ah. So did you go right back to circles on the long reins, or did you work with straight lines or driving behind him at all, or what did you just,
No,
is this?
pretty well straight. Well, actually, I think I might start more in a bit of a rectangle from
Mhm.
memory. I can't, yeah.
That's what it looks like.
The first day I started back, we did a few little straight lines just to kind of warm him up a little bit, and then we went into circles. And this session, I think I might have done some more rectangles and then did circles.
Hmm.
Or did I go straight to circles? I can't remember.
No, it looks like you did one big rectangle and then you're just bringing it in now to a little bit of a circle.
Yeah. When it's a circle as well, I normally walk with him. We start
Hmm.
off a bit slow, but he gets going in a minute. Um, I normally walk with him, and I'm keen to get your thoughts if you think he's at the stage where I should stand still, because I would imagine the long reins, when you're standing still, the long reins correct them even more, wouldn't it? As
Yes.
opposed to kind of me following him and me taking up the slack, I suppose, a little bit.
Yeah, well, it's easier for us to be precise with the feel of the long reins when we're standing still, but
Mm,
also for the horse, when we're walking with him, our circle isn't super precise. It meanders a
mm,
little bit, and
yeah.
it's easier for the horse to maintain forward when the
Mm,
circle itself is less precise. And
yeah.
so kind of looking at this video and the amount he's still choosing to halt, rather like I look for a steady rhythm. So
Mm,
rhythm is balance, right?
yeah.
I'm always looking at the posture, the use of the neck in particular within the posture, and the rhythm of movement, because that's sort of how we perceive balance. And as
Mm,
long as he's stopping, like even if the rhythm is tiny little strides and really slow,
mm-hmm.
rhythm is still balance,
Yeah.
right? And so when they're stopping a lot, it's telling us they're still struggling with comfort and coordination.
Mm,
So sometimes we can experiment. I'll experiment with a precise circle with more often with horses that are too fast rather than too slow
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
because the precision of the circle kind of has a slowing effect. But
Mm,
I also, because just when you think you know a thing or two, the horses make a liar out of you. So you
yeah.
could experiment with a precise circle and stand still. And for some slow horses, that helps them increase forward because
Mm.
that precision helps them become more stable. And
Yeah.
once they're
Okay.
more stable, they go more forward. So you
Mm.
never kind of know.
Mm.
Most of the time, and I wouldn't be surprised if you stood still and made the circle kind of precise, if he halted more, that gives you the
Mm.
answer,
Yeah.
right?
That's my sense of what he'd do, I think.
I mean, you could try it because if you give it one session,
Mm.
even if he halts a lot right away, maybe give it 20, 30 minutes. And if he gets more forward during the session, I would do it again. And if
Mm.
he halts more and more, or he gets harder and harder to restart after he halts, then I would say, okay, we have our answer.
Yeah.
Because the stopping can be for two reasons. In his case, it does have to do with him not feeling stable during forward motion. And that's
Mm.
why we experimented with the long reins with him in the first place,
Yeah.
because he wouldn't go forward hand walking. Um, he could kind of lunge, but not really do a circle. Like it was a little
No,
bit,
it was.
it was just kind of very unstable when he was on the lunge
Yes.
line. And then
Yeah.
when you put him up against the fence line for hand walking, he didn't want to move,
No.
right? So we kind of had to just encourage any forward movement in a comfortable way. And then when we first put him on the long reins, it was kind of a test for the same reason as you
Mm.
would test a small circle with him or a precise
Hmm.
circle with him.
Yeah.
And, he got better on the long reins compared to everything else we tried. And so maybe a precise circle would do the same thing for his body. So I would
Mm.
try it, give it a
Mm.
session or two, or
Yep. Yep.
until you get to where you're working harder than him, then
Mm. Yep. Yep.
then it's not the answer. But the fact that on the video, this particular video, your circle is about as round and as small as I've seen him be able to do.
Mm.
So you definitely have made progress from the big sort of amoeba shapes, where you're just
Hmm.
sort of tracking left from the inside.
Yep.
Now
Yep.
you can see a little bit of a circular path being carved out by his feet.
Hmm.
So I can kind of see the shape of your circle. And
Mm.
it's more circular shaped than amoeba shaped or square shaped. And
Yep.
so that's already a big advancement. And he's
Hmm.
stopping a little, but no
Hmm.
more than he was before.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the second half, oh, it could make a liar out of me if I can't remember it right, but I think he kind of picks up a little bit more momentum and he doesn't stop as much from
Good,
memory. Because I
good.
remember thinking at the end of the session, oh, that was pretty good. But I'm looking back now and thinking, no, that wasn't that great. So I'm thinking, hopefully it
S-
improves.
So think of it this way, and this is the way we use a path of travel to influence the speed is straight lines and working behind the horse really kind of focus more. Well, no, that's not true. They both focus on the left-right balance on the long reins. But when we track straight lines, it's
Hmm.
easier for the horses to get straight. It's harder for the horses to engage the hindquarters.
Yes. Yep.
When we track turns and circles, especially precise circles, it's easier for the horse to engage the hindquarters, but it's harder for them to get straight. And so
Yeah.
that's kind of why it relates to losing forward or improving forward.
Mm.
So sometimes when they lose forward, because you're on a small, precise circle, it's not really. the setback it appears to be. It's just hard for them to stabilize the engagement, but you're actually getting an improvement in the coordination. And that's
Yeah.
kind of see what I see you doing with him is you've gone from the arena fence line to half the arena to squares to wiggly turns into actual circles. And
Mm.
that whole progression, he's not noticeably more forward, at least at the beginning of the session, but he's not
Mm-hmm.
stopping any more than he was before.
No, no,
So,
exactly. And on a
so,
circle.
right. So in a way, we look at that and we say, well, the challenge is increased, but the response is not any worse than it was before. So that means his coordination is improving.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I think as you've been constantly, gently increasing the roundness of the circle, he's still slow and he's still halting, but
Mm-hmm.
he's the same as your increasing level of difficulty, which is really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then if he starts off this way, but you kind of slog through it with him and it's not too horrible, but by the end of the session, he's developing more rhythm and stopping less. That to
Mm-hmm.
me would be a sign that I'm exactly on the right track with what I'm
Yeah.
choosing to do.
Yeah.
Because to start off, it's hard, it's a little tedious, but by the end of the session, we're seeing the result and the improvement of it in one session. That tells me I don't need to make the work any easier for him, but I also don't need to make it any harder just yet,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And with the only
Mm-hmm.
caveat is that you haven't really tried standing still and doing a circle with him, so I think it's worth a try.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Just try
I
a
shall.
precise circle.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's about a 22-minute video, and we're midway
Mm-hmm.
around the 11-minute mark. And so
Yep.
is this where you feel he kind of unlocks and starts to go more forward from this point on?
I think so from memory, but it's probably
Okay.
going to make a lot of me.
I know, right? And again, when they stop like he does, uh, if he stops and looks out of the arena, those would be the times I would be a little firmer about getting him to go forward because it will also regain his attention.
Mm-hmm.
If he stops, but he's more thoughtful and he's not distracted or derailed, then I might be slower with my forward aid.
Yes. Yep. Yeah,
But
because normally he's quite focused on the
he's
sessions.
very focused.
Yeah, which is good. I think he
Like
likes it.
the calm energy, the ears half back, and now just that lap after he stopped at the gate and from there to here is the most rhythmic I've seen him so far in this session.
Mm.
And so it's like it just started to kick in. I think you did remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can see it's a little tenuous, but
Mm-hmm.
that circle was a very steady 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
And the neck was long, and the energy was calm, and his ears were showing you his mind was on the task.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of that combination together, like without the rhythm was the only thing lacking, and the halting was pretty frequent when you started, but he
Mm-hmm.
was working on it. And so you just kind of muddle through it. And then at the 11-minute mark, now I'm seeing the beginning of a rhythm starting to come through.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's exactly kind of the response from the horse that tells you you're working at a really good level of challenge.
Yeah.
That it's not so hard he can't do it, and it's not so easy, he can do it right away.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, again, that next lap, you start to see there's less, definitely less halting, and then there's less sort of like slowing down, speeding up, falling in, falling out. He just kind of
Mm.
lines out and starts to go. And not right
Yep.
at this very moment that we're looking at, but before when I started talking
Yep.
about it.
Yeah.
And then he's like, do I have to?
Yeah.
And this is where we don't know unless I call it ask the horse, but as you start to see that rhythm coming through, the way to help him get better at it is kind of unique to each horse. And this is where I just have to experiment and read the response the horse gives me. But I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
experiment with a little bit lighter feel on the long reins and a little bit heavier feel on the long reins, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to kind of change my use of the long reins just slightly. You're still doing the same thing you've always done, but I
Mm-hmm.
might make it the feel on the inside rein a little lighter, so slower with the outside rein, or
Yep.
I might make the inside rein a little straighter and heavier, meaning quicker and firmer with the outside rein. And so you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of isolate the feel first and see if I do a lap with a lighter feel, is there any improvement or does it get worse? And then if I do
Yeah.
a lap with a heavier feel, is there any improvement or does it get worse? And
Mm.
then kind of assess that part of it, your influence with the reins, and then also assess if I walk with him for a lap or two, how does he respond to that? And
Yeah.
so, like at this 11-minute mark where he started to offer, the first sneaky peek of rhythm, that's when I
Mm-hmm.
would experiment couple of laps changing the feel of the long reins, and then a
Mm-hmm.
couple of laps where you're doing what you're doing, walking with him on the circle, but then maybe try a lap or two, just stop your feet and
Mm.
stand still and make a circle right there that's more precise.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it could be he wants a heavier feel as he's developing rhythm because maybe he needs that kind of like strong training wheels to be able to hold it,
Yes. The board.
right?
Yeah.
Or he
Mm-hmm.
might want a lighter feel and feel less restricted. You don't know until you ask. And every
Yeah.
horse is different. And so I have no judgment of being heavier on the reins or lighter because it depends on what the horse needs at the time.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's going to change and evolve as the balance develops. And the same thing, she's doing these flybys. Um, the same thing with the path of travel.
Mm-hmm.
A more precise path of travel could have a stabilizing effect that helps him go more forward, or a precise path of travel could make him have to push more than he's ready for, and he loses forward.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yep. Yep. Mm-hmm.
But I think you're in general at a place with him, and you kind of know it because it's finally getting a little easier working from the inside on the long reins with him on circles, that once it starts, you're over that really like tedious,
Mm.
repetitious slog. You're starting to see some
Wait.
results.
Yeah.
And once I get to that point, I'll experiment a little more to see if I tweak some of these elements, does it help them get there a little sooner?
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
Yep.
And if he's stopping more frequently, like I'm kind of seeing, is he good for about 20 minutes or have you been working him longer?
About 20 minutes. And they really know the time, don't they? Because we get to
Yeah.
20 minutes. Okay, okay, that's it now.
No, like I just saw him
Yeah.
kind of go, okay, done. And it's about the 19-minute mark. And so that's why I asked that.
Oh, my husband just walked up to the fence. My husband just walked up to the fence. I think Pablo thought, oh, I need to stop.
Oh.
We need to stop and talk.
Ah, then there's that too.
Yeah. He loves a good distraction.
No, and I just did a video with another client. She was riding the horse, but it's another horse that's kind of tough, like Pablo. And
Mm-hmm.
we discussed in that lesson, I posted it on the YouTube channel, and it was,
Mm-hmm.
I think the title is Pulling Together Two Dimensions of Balance, and it's under saddle. But we
Mm-hmm.
discussed how to recognize fatigue versus
Yeah.
when to keep going, like how to kind of read that with
It's
horses.
tricky, isn't it? Yeah.
It can be tricky, and with Pablo, he's still a little easier to read in that he starts off with a lot of struggle and he gets better by the kind of midway mark of your
Mm-hmm.
session.
Mm-hmm.
And so that tells you your training is appropriate, what you're asking them to do is
Mm-hmm.
working. And then if they get better, he may just go from struggle in the beginning to better, better, better all the way through the end of the session. When they
Mm.
go from struggle in the beginning and then they get better and then they go back to struggle,
Yeah, that's a sign.
that's the sign of fatigue. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. See, a lot of times when he stops near the gate, I'm pretty sure he's just saying, "Oh, I'd like to stop now," and
Be
just
done. Yeah.
yeah. I don't want to
Well,
say
and
lazy, because I'm sure there's more to it, but as in just not really motivated to kind of keep working.
it could be that and it could be fatigue. And so that's why you're just assessing the feel and the rhythm. And if he,
Hmm.
even if he is a little fatigued, if he can do a little bit more in balance, I'm one of
Yeah.
those who pushes it to the time on my watch and go,
Yes.
good, bad, or otherwise, we're going to just work on this for this
Yeah.
period of
Yeah.
time. But there are times where I cut the ride short or I cut the session short because I can tell the horse is just
Really. Yeah.
fatigued
It's
and we're
really,
not going to get anything good.
yeah. It goes south from there, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you see, he came back. I wouldn't say he was telling you he was fatigued. He might be done. He might not want to
Mm.
do more, but I wouldn't
Yeah.
say he's physically fatigued because he came back pretty good. Not as good
Mm.
as the middle. The middle at the 11-minute mark where we saw those two circles with the steadiest rhythm, that
Yeah.
was
We got two
his,
circles. Yay.
yeah, which for him is a huge advancement. So let
Yeah.
me
Well, that's it.
go,
There's no way he could have done one circle, probably 4 or 5 months ago. So we're
right.
definitely, we are on the slow incline of improvement.
Yeah.
I just have
So,
to be patient. I'm just so eager to get on him and ride him, and I just have to calm down and
well,
wait.
it's one of those things, if we put it in the human context, how long do you have to go to the gym and diet for your body to change?
Mm,
Like, that's
yeah,
not a quick process, even for people with a deep desire
no.
to do it. And with
Hmm.
horses, they can't imagine something better than what they know right now. So they got no idea it's going to be better by working hard. So we're
Hmm.
kind of up against that. But I took it back
Yeah.
to the 10-minute mark. And at the 10-minute mark, this is where the impulse, right? Because that has to
Mm,
come from the inside of the horse. That is the hard part. Like
mm,
you see everybody with horses that don't have a strong impulse to move forward, all people
hmm.
do the same thing. They
Kick, kick.
chase them, they constantly give aids. It's like we do more work than them. And I
Yeah.
go, and what's the result of that? Is your horse choosing more forward as a result? No. Okay, well, then it's not
No.
working, right? So, and usually, like Pablo's a great example. that when you push this horse to go faster, thinking it's going to work, he goes the opposite way.
Yeah, yeah, he will
He
not.
it actually, and for most horses, the more we push them to go forward, the more it
Hmm.
diminishes their desire to go forward.
Yeah, yeah. And especially if there's pain or discomfort and then we're pushing them into it, they're just gonna,
We're
the
just
whole
making them
attitude
more
about it.
uncomfortable. Yeah.
Exactly. And the whole attitude about it's not going to improve, is it?
No, and geeky me, I had to look up the definition of impulsion because it came up, right? So,
Hmm.
like, the definition of impulsion is the urge, the
Mm.
result, right? The impetus. And I go,
Hmm.
that has to come from the inside of a horse. You can't have impulsion through your aids because it has to
No.
be a desire to move forward in order to have impulsion, right?
Hmm.
So you've been building up his comfort, which has increased his desire to move. You
Hmm.
can't make that happen any faster than it can happen.
Mm.
I almost think he's rideable sooner than you might think. I think he's very close to being rideable
Okay.
because and when I say rideable, I don't mean easy to ride, but
Mm.
safe to ride because
Yeah.
his
Yeah.
he's all in on his work session. He's
Mm.
he's really trying to follow your guidance. He's cooperating
Hmm.
as best he can.
Yeah.
It's just not easy for him. And
Hmm.
so I think those were the two laps. Yeah, let me go back and
Yeah.
look at him again. Because if I
Yeah, they're over
go,
pretty quick.
what's that?
They're over pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, and even if you were on him for less than 5 minutes, like
Hmm.
even sitting on him, and if he doesn't move at first, that's still more resistant strength required through his muscles. So it has a
Yeah.
strengthening effect. Does that make
Yeah.
sense? And even if he just walks, like he's going to be the kind of horse where you transition slowly into the riding, you can't jump into it. But it would
Yeah.
be, it's like all groundwork, no riding. Then we would
Mm.
start with mostly groundwork, very little riding, and
Mm.
slowly transition that to less groundwork, more riding.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again,
Yeah, I thought
just, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say I might start now putting the saddle on him, rather than the bare back pad, just to kind of start prepping it all so
Hmm.
he can get used to having that on because he's not a huge fan. We're getting a little bit better with the girth, but it takes a lot of treats because
Okay.
he's still very girthy. So I have to take it very slow and shove lots of treats in his mouth and then he's okay.
Yeah. And the more you do it, the easier it'll get. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. You have the option of the saddle or the bareback pad.
Hmm.
And like right now, he stopped again. But even after the stop, I think this is when, yeah. So it's at the 11 to 12-minute mark of the video, even though he puts in this long stop at the gate in between the two circles,
Hmm.
these were sort of him pulling. pulling his balance together for this session, kind of at the best. This is where he does the best of the whole session.
Hmm.
And even though it's slow, like I said, steady rhythm indicates balance more than energy or speed. And
Yeah.
so short, steady stride lengths in rhythm
Mm.
with a long neck, that
Hmm.
even if the rest of the world thinks it looks like crap, I go, that's the beginning of his balance.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is the beginning of him pulling together a balanced coordination.
Hmm.
And it was hard earned with him. So pat yourself on the back.
Oh, thank
And
you.
I was also going to say, he's kind of getting like these two circles. And what you should see, hopefully, is each session this good movement that we're taking the time to point out
Hmm.
comes it's going to come sooner and last
Yeah.
longer,
Yeah.
right? It
Yeah.
still may come in fits and starts. It might not be consistent, but you should
Mm-hmm.
see the rhythm kind of come through maybe earlier in the session, or depending on if you adjust the feel of the long reins or the precision of the circle, what you're
Yeah.
looking for is that he could hold that rhythmic movement a little longer,
Yeah. Yeah.
find it more frequently.
Yeah, and what I have noticed, I don't know if it was in this session or previous ones, now and again, just very small little snippets of time, he looks like he's uphill as opposed to downhill. Like his withers look higher. So
Yeah.
I'm thinking, obviously, that must be an improvement.
Yes,
Um,
because the I was just working on writing this in the chapter I'm working on, that the reason rhythm is important is because the body, horses and people and cats, have have an internal accelerator and an internal brake, just like a car, right?
mhm,
And it's a whole mechanism because it involves core muscles, back muscles, the use of the spine, the use of the pelvis, all the muscles of the hindquarters, and the muscles of the legs, and the use of the leg joints. So it's a big mechanism that
yeah,
balances locomotion with stability. So
mhm,
locomotion is technically, acceleration is called pushing,
mhm,
and stabilization is called braking, like the brakes in your car. It's even spelled brake,
yeah,
right?
mhm,
So the way horses engage the hindquarters and lift the back and come into their horizontal and vertical balance, front to back, up to down, is by equalizing the braking and pushing mechanisms.
mhm,
Equal is more important than more speed or less speed, longer strides, shorter strides, faster tempos, slower tempos. It's just
mhm,
wherever we can equalize is what lifts the back. So
yeah,
what you're seeing, and people have a hard time wrapping their head around this, that at this very remedial speed with very careful small strides, he is lifting his back each time you see, like just there, he brings his head and neck into a horizontal alignment with the back and hindquarters.
mhm,
You see those moments. And then when
yeah,
he loses it, he falls into long and low. The neck has a little outside bend. He changes
mhm,
the rhythm. He stops. That's just him losing the balance. But let me
yeah,
just point out that moment because as I was talking about it, he did it.
mhm,
So we go back just a little more. So here we're at about the 15-minute mark, 15. So there he's in long and low, right?
mhm,
So
yeah,
he's got too much weight on the forehand. But do you see, you're not lifting his neck. He is. So just
mhm,
there in that step, and this is why understanding
yeah,
posture is important because it's
mhm,
not going to win a Grand Prix test, but it's important because it's
mhm.
balanced, right? And
Yeah.
so just there, let's look at it again. Just here, the neck and that it elevates, right? So he
Mhm.
went from long and low. Oops. This is very obvious, long and low. The neck is long and the head is
Yeah.
below the back. Here, the
Mhm.
neck stays long and the head elevates in line with the back. You see that just
Yeah.
for a
Yeah.
stride or two, right? Then
Yeah.
he loses it again. The neck bends or it goes back down to the ground. And then every once in a while, you see one step or half step where that
Yeah.
head, the pole, top of the head,
Comes.
comes into a horizontal alignment with the back and the croup,
Mhm.
right? Those
Yeah.
steps are steps in balance.
Mm-hmm.
because you're not, what's elevating the head is what you're seeing. The whole front end is lighter. So it's not
Yes.
just the head elevating, it's the head, the the neck
Shoulders will
bones,
sort of link.
and the front limbs pushing up. So it's the
Mm-hmm.
full whole forehand coming up into a horizontal alignment with the thoracolumbar spine and pelvis. That
Mm-hmm.
is their balance front to back.
Yeah.
And the way they do that is when they push, when they use the accelerator, and it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter, like in your car, the accelerator is the accelerator, whether you use it a little bit or a lot. The brake
Mm-hmm.
is the brake. Whether you use it a little bit or a lot depends on what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
The problem is if your accelerator is broken or your brakes don't work, you have a huge problem.
Mm.
So
Are there some
most
horses that are very naturally balanced and get around the whole time with their neck where it needs to be pretty well? Are there lucky horses like that?
there are what I consider talent, athletic talent, whether it's a horse or a person,
Yeah.
is the innate ability to balance correctly.
Mm.
But even with a lot of talent, horses still have to learn how to carry unnatural weight, riders,
Mm.
right?
Yeah. Okay.
That's not
Yeah.
natural to them. So even if they can balance out in the bush without a rider, it's a
Mm-hmm.
learned skill for a horse to balance with a cart with a rider,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Even if they're very talented, right? It's
Mm.
just like as humans, it's a learned skill to ride a horse.
Yes.
We're not
Yeah.
born knowing how to ride a horse. It's a learned skill. So just like that, it's a learned skill for a horse to carry a rider. But we forget that because they're big and they don't fall
Yeah.
over very easily. So we think we're good. But
Mm-hmm.
to actually balance, so this is why so many horses have a broken gas pedal or terrible brakes, is because
Mm.
we don't consider whether or not, if like we go, if they walk trot canter in 30 days, everybody checks the box and moves on.
Yeah.
But in order to walk trot canter in 30 days and learn to be saddled and learn to carry a rider and learn to be bridled, they're not going to
Mm.
do it in balance
No, of
because
course not.
developing balance takes more time,
Mm.
right?
Well, look how long it's taking us just for the circles.
Right.
So
And he's a good example of failing
mm.
the 30, 60, 90-day colt starting program. And
Mm-hmm.
so now you have dysfunctional habits that have caused problems, and you have to go in and undo those. And
Mm-hmm.
then on top of that, teach balance. So
Yeah.
that's why rehab takes a little bit longer because you're having to you're below zero now. With a green
Mm.
horse, a horse that's never been ridden, you're kind of at zero, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And if as a horse industry, if we changed our point of view from walk, trot, canter in 30 days to could you
Mm-hmm.
teach my horse to balance in 30 days, those are two different jobs,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so it's just the demands of the horse owner expecting that a horse is rideable in 30 days. That's the norm. It's
Mm.
like, okay, but then who's going to work on balance? Because that's going to take longer than 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I equate teaching a horse balance is more like a human going to dance class or learning
Yeah.
karate. It's like this
Yeah.
is, martial arts or ballet. You spend a lot
Mm.
of time repeating
Yeah.
basic moves until
Yeah.
you integrate the coordination.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it's like for horses, learning to balance. And the long reins are kind of like your ballet bar. Like he's learning
Yes.
how
Yeah.
to, he's using that ballet bar to kind of figure out the coordination.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting when I do eventually start to ride him under your guidance. I'm really interested to how to do it, I suppose.
It changes everything because it's like
Oh, yeah.
once you start to feel your horse, and for us, we can only get the feel and timing if we can sustain our balance on a bad moving horse. And so that'll be your challenge is to find your balance even though he's not moving perfectly. And
Mm,
when you can do that as a rider,
yeah.
sometimes riding a horse like Pablo is easier for them than the groundwork. And again, we
Mm,
don't know until we try because every horse is different. But there's
hmm
some horses I work with that are very much like Pablo, and all of the advancements come easier while I'm riding compared to the groundwork.
mm,
When a horse isn't safe to ride or we're not confident, we don't feel safe to ride, we can still get the work done through the groundwork. So at
yeah.
least we don't have to ride to get it done. We can balance
hmm
a horse from groundwork.
Yeah.
But when we learn to balance ourselves as riders, we have the option to see what the horse wants.
Mm, hmm Yeah. And like I say, I'm keen, but I wouldn't want to get on him until he's physically ready because, I don't want to go backwards and I don't want to put him in any pain or anything.
Well, at least with Pablo, and this is sort of what you always curse, but it's really a blessing, is he's an openly opinionated guy.
Yes, he is.
And so
He'll tell me loud and clear.
he will tell you loud and clear what is working
Yeah.
for him and what is not. And
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like that's the exact thing that drives us all crazy. And then we learn to, as we're refining balance, it really becomes a gift to keep us on track and not do the wrong
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It's either a
Because,
green one or a flashing red one, so that's pretty obvious.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And this is his green light in this session. It's really
Mm.
pretty good. I hit replay and it's just starting over. And it really is it pretty much like the last video. So for him to have 3 weeks off of rest and kind of
hmm
come back like this is a very it at least makes us feel like we have not been wasting our time. That that
No,
that new movement is in there pretty solid. Like
exactly.
you've developed the
Yeah.
neural pathways that it's not just falling apart after time off.
hmm Yeah. And although, like, compared to maybe a lot of other horses, you know, it's not great, but for Pablo to be able to go around in circles at all, like from where he came from, I think
We know
we're
it's great.
definitely, we know
Absolutely.
it's great.
We know
We
it's
know
great.
we're progressing at snail's pace, but that's okay.
But if you think about it, for his whole lifespan, it was relatively a short time ago that you could
Mm,
barely lead him forward.
yeah, yeah.
You know, that
And
he,
I was actually quite cautious and afraid of him sometimes dealing with him because he was so reactive. He obviously felt so crappy in his body. You could like even sometimes putting a halter on him, he'd try and bite the halter like mad. You'd put his rug on and he'd be spooking all over the place. So he was really, well, for me anyway, maybe not for
yeah,
everyone, but
no,
he was
unpredictable.
challenging.
Hmm.
Yeah, unpredictable and quite challenging to deal with, and he's definitely come a long way in himself.
That's
So it's
awesome.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was going to ask how he was for the girthing and if getting him ready for work was getting any easier. So, and
So
again, the,
yeah, a little bit easier. Yeah.
habits by definition don't change overnight. And that's
No.
why when we hang in there, and we just keep repeating, just repeat, repeat, repeat,
Hmm.
repeat. It's
Yeah.
going to work, you know,
Yeah.
and when it doesn't work, it's usually because people get frustrated and give up. But I go,
Yeah.
if you just hang in there and you can't out muscle horses, but you can out patience them.
Mm. Yeah.
And I go, you just keep repeating and it just works.
Yeah.
And and it's kind of our emotional response that gets in the way. And
Mhm.
ironically, when you go through this process like you have with Pablo, you come out the other side appearing to other people as this infinitely patient person. And really, you're not. You just know that's the fastest way to get there.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, I've learnt now that I can't, the minute I even try and reprimand him or have a stern word, unless obviously he was being aggressive,
Hmm.
but it does no good. Like I just need to just give him some space and just then go back and try it again quietly, like
Yeah.
not challenge him and not kind of butt heads with him. Otherwise, he just keeps going.
Oh, yeah, because
Mm,
horses that defend themselves through aggression
mm,
get better at it the more we
yeah,
fight back.
yeah, yeah.
And when they get uncomfortable in their body, they get more and more defensive. And I watch
Hmm.
some horses will goad people into the fight because they're good
Mm,
at it and they know they're going to win. And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah,
that's how people wind up afraid of their own horses. It's a very real fear
yeah.
because the horses
Well,
can
they are
turn,
scary when they're coming at you, aren't they?
yeah, and they can turn into bullies. They can kind of know how to scare people and they use it
Mm,
to protect themselves, but they become bullies
hmm.
because they feel so defensive. And so
Yeah,
until we quit entering the argument,
yes.
like when they want to fight, we don't fight back. We don't let
Hmm.
them attack us, but we don't fight
Hmm.
back. And
Yeah.
that's really the only
That's been a
way.
big learning curve for me.
Yeah. And it is
Mm,
scary. An aggressive horse is
mm,
intimidating, or
yeah.
an unpredictable horse is intimidating
Mm,
because you can just be in the wrong place at the wrong time.
exactly. Yeah. Yep.
And it's funny,
Yes.
all of my, like, I tell people all the time, I go, my worst injuries with horses have been on the ground. And
Okay.
and invariably they happen doing the simplest freaking things because I'm not paying attention. And
Yeah.
that's when it
Okay.
happens. And
Yes.
if I'm with a horse I don't trust too much, or we're doing something where safety is a bit of an issue, I'm
Mm-hmm.
really paying attention.
Mm.
And I don't
Yes.
tend to get hurt in those situations where people think I would get hurt. I get hurt in
Mm-hmm.
the situations where I'm like, oh, the horse will be fine, and I don't pay attention,
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And spook or something silly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, I know you got to get ready for work, so I don't want to
Yeah.
keep you. But any
Mhm.
final thoughts or questions?
No, no. I think we'll keep plodding along and hopefully I'll have some footage of Stitch soon. I haven't started back with him yet because I've had the flu and whatnot, so but I will hopefully next week it'll be nice weather and I'll start him back as well.
Oh, good. So in the next couple of weeks, I would try playing with different size, shapes, circles, and feels on the
Mhm.
long rein with Pablo.
Yeah.
And if you don't get to stitch, and Pablo's doing pretty good, I'm thinking in 2 weeks we could maybe start to cover some of the mounting task.
Yeah, okay. Oh
And
yes, let's do that.
yeah, and just see about taking him to a mounting block and I basically put a horse through what I consider colt starting. And so
Okay.
I check every box to make sure they're saying yes before I go on and on. I make no assumptions. I test it out.
Yeah.
And so I think with Pablo, it's looking good enough that not only can you saddle him for the work on the ground, but at the
Hmm.
end of the session, taking him to the mounting block at the end of the session as a place of
Yeah.
rest would be a
Yeah.
really good thing to add in.
Okay. Yep. All
Yep.
right, so maybe next session, in 2 weeks' time, maybe you could go through some of your points on starting.
Yep. So if the
Yep.
video next time can be Stitch or Pablo, but remind
Hmm.
me and we'll go
Yep.
over what you need to do
Yep.
for the mounting.
Yep. Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Sounds good. Lovely. Awesome. All right.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a nice fortnight, and I'll see you in 2 weeks.